People born before 2000, what trivial skill do you have that no one uses anymore? Everyone talking about reading a map is correct, but folding the map back is the real talent. Folding a map so you can use it without having to hold it completely unfolded and folding it back to its initial shape. My 4-year-old loves to fold maps. He has every US state map and they all fold basically the same except Florida. He thinks it's hilarious asking people to fold the Florida map because he's the only one who can do it. I can untangle a spiral telephone cord, even the long ones that reach across the room. I can usually fix a VHS or cassette tape tangle without damaging the sound or video. I can navigate a strange city without getting completely lost. I can mow a lawn with a corded mower without ever running over the cord. I can recall a civilization where politicians were generally cordial and held to a basic moral standard, seemed to care about most of their constituents, and all seemed to understand that slavery and Nazis were bad. I can make a book cover out of a brown paper bag to protect a textbook. Schools tried to make us buy special book covers they made. I told them F off. Next year they tried to say we were required to buy them. I told them to F off again. The next year they said no really, we mean it this time. I told them to F off. They tried to give my kids detention for using paper covers. I went to the superintendent. Cover the books however you want, just cover them, was the new policy going forward. By the way, this was those thin, stretchy sleeves that actually protected the books worse than the paper ones. I still do this whenever I get a book out of the library, because my fiancé insists they are poop books, so I do it so he doesn't cringe every time I interact with it. And keep your notes in a Trapper Keeper? I was born in '97, so not far from the cutoff, but most people who are younger than I am have probably never used a phone with physical buttons. I bet that if I picked up an old Nokia or BlackBerry, I could still type just as fast today, tapping the numbers to get the letters I want. The real question is, could you do it in your pocket without looking? That was the pro move. When I was born, phones didn't have buttons. They had finger holes. I miss physical buttons so much. I used to be able to type out messages with no typos. Not so with these dang touchscreen keyboards. I shocked the heck out of my uncle when I used a paper map to find my way to his house in Southern California about 15 years ago, how to find different settings on a computer. I swear no one knows how to find where to change your display settings or volume mixer. How to be bored? How to be bored is the big one. I've had younger people ask me what we used to do when we were waiting for something, and they're always confused when I say we were just bored for 5 minutes. Do young people not know how to daydream? Weird how finding the settings on a computer is something difficult for a lot of people younger than me, but also for my older colleagues and relatives. Makes me feel old or young depending on the setting. Yes, troubleshooting is such a foreign concept for kids nowadays. Most things just work out of the box. When something doesn't work, they don't know how to find out what the problem is. I'm super at typewriters. There's a skill to it, is you have to learn to type quickly without jamming it, and you have to be able to maintain and repair it, along with positioning the paper perfectly if you need to go back to correct typos. Yes, and you have to hold your hands very differently. I still can't use laptop or flat keyboards, so I have to have a mechanical one. I loved my typewriter. People look at me like I'm crazy when I say carriage return. My brain still has about a dozen landline numbers from 1998 locked and loaded. Completely useless information, taking up the space where I'm supposed to remember why I walked into this room. Since they're not going anywhere, I use them for PIN codes. My husband remembers my phone number from when we were dating, that is, 1985. Do I know my own husband's phone number? I do not. Do I know my best friend from 5th grade's parents' landline? Yes, I do. I can drive stick. I learned it for this lovely old VW Cabriolet I fell in love with. I had to rent a car recently and was dismayed to see how many no longer even have a gear shift. I do not know what I'm going to do when I have to replace my current vehicle. Considering it's paid off, I will stick with it as long as I can, but I worry at how long my 2012 can hold out, and how much worse cars will get by the time I'm forced to get a new one. How is that a skill no one uses anymore? My 2009 Mazda 6 has a manual transmission. I can make your text sparkly on AIM or MySpace, and have All-Star automatically play when someone visits your MySpace page. We really didn't know what we had with MySpace. Username checks out? Tom, is that really you, bestie? Lol. Me coding HTML on GeoCities and Neopets. Can use microfiche, card catalog use at a library, drive manual, use paper maps, repair clothing, polish and wax shoes. I had a college professor who insisted that we get at least some paper-printed sources for our speeches. He said back in his day he had to drive for hours to different libraries to do his assignments. So yeah, you're going to be doing some driving. Paper maps. I used to teach map reading and using a compass. Man, we spent so much time learning how to use paper maps in driver's ed back in about 2007. I already had an old Garmin GPS unit ready to go for my first car. I knew at that time that I would never again read a paper map in my life, and so far, I've been correct. We used to take classes on using Word and Excel and all their features. We learned all the formatting stuff, like how to place a picture without ruining everything. When I was tutoring, my Gen Z students didn't even know things like centering text for a title. Apparently there is a big push in using Google Drive that a lot of students don't even know how to save or find their files because it's all done in a cloud. It baffles me when people don't know how to send an email on the PC or just basic Word or Excel stuff. I had those classes too. Despite being the most widely used software in the world, I'd argue that Office is also the most underutilized. Excel is top in this regard, but Word also has many useful functions which 99% of people don't use. I can read an analog clock. I went to a Dunkin' Donuts recently and the young teenage girl was wearing a big, bright pink analog watch. I asked her, "What time is it?" Her response, "Oh, I do not know. I just wear this for the looks. I can't read it." Sure enough, when I saw the watch face, it was way off. I didn't know the exact time, but I know that wasn't even close. In high school, early 1990s, I was a cashier at a fast food restaurant, Boston Market, formerly Boston Chicken. As a math wonk, I'd always impress the managers and fellow cashiers by having exactly the right count, most nights to the penny. It was generally expected folks were a little bit off, so counting change is my, now useless, pre-2000 skill. I worked at a movie theater for 7 years and was in charge of the projection booth for 2 of those years. This was before films were digital, so I had to build the movies when they came in. It was fun, and I liked doing it. I loved working projection. We used to see who could get a reel set up the quickest, and you didn't have to deal with customers. Just hated getting brain wraps and having to cut stuff up and put it back together. Oh yeah, those big, huge reels. I managed a 24 screen. The managers had to watch the prints after the ads and previews had been spliced on the film. I watched a ton of bad movies. Another skill was running the same film through 2 projectors. I've always been good with remembering serial numbers. Maybe I've got some autistic advantage, who knows? So I knew all the phone numbers by heart. People around me called me phone book sometimes, regularly asked me for a certain number, because it was faster than looking it up, LOL. TV slapping, percussive troubleshooting in general. I could dial a phone number on a rotary dial phone by quickly tapping the little hang-up button in the handset cradle. Want to dial 555-2345. Tap, 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 tap. Pause. Tap, 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 tap. Pause. Tap, 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 tap. Pause. Tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Phone starts ringing. Wait, what? I'm 65 and never knew that was possible. Useful when they put locks on the phone so people wouldn't use them to dial out. Freak does this in the movie Hackers when he's in jail and gets his one phone call. I didn't understand what he was doing until years later. Orange/white, orange, green/white, blue, blue/white, green, brown/white, brown. That's the color order for a straight-through cable, computer to switch. Do the same on both ends. For crossover cables, computer to computer, one end is that, the other has pins swapped. Now network devices have auto-sensing, and they do the pin connect swap internally. This is not an outdated skill. I did this today. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. It really helps. Subscribe for more, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one.